Download the AllStar app. Make your picks for UFC fights, challenge your friends, level up and win prizes. Link in description. Get it now. Just recently, Anatoly Malakin, who was the three division champion in one championship. 3 divisions: heavyweight, light heavyweight, and middleweight. Yep. Imagine that, right? It's real. It's the first ever.
Incredible.
In a promotion there that does not allow weight cutting.
True.
So it's and Anatoly is a massive individual. He's not like a middleweight that gained weight to go to light heavyweight.
That's right.
He's like a heavyweight that went down to middleweight.
Yeah, he looks like a bear.
The weight classes are all out of whack, like the numbers. You really got to go look in the details. But anyways, he fought he attempted to defend the heavyweight title against Reug Reug, who is a Senegalese fighter that built himself up, pretty much with nothing, and went in there and beat Anatoly, who many people thought could be that was unbeatable, like at that weight, because he had every skill. He had grappling, he had knockout power in his hands.
Yeah.
Like he just destroyed everybody.
Yeah.
And Reug Reug just went in there and snatched that belt from him. A lot of people thought it was a close fight. Maybe Anatoly won. But there was no point where like Reug Reug was like super in danger. Like he got hit super hard. He took the shots and I think Anatoly was surprised.
I think so.
And also, I don't think Anatoly was ready for the grappling.
Oh,
because there was a lot of grappling going on, and it seemed like he wasn't ready for that. It seemed maybe because who does he have to train grappling with? That's a question.
Yeah, that's true. When you're that big and that skilled, it's very difficult to find training partners. That
want to train with you.
Yeah, that can push you. Like usually in a lot of the grappling sports, there are more skilled people at the lower weights than the higher weights. And then, the ones at the higher weights are usually more there by virtue of like physicality. But then, if they're that good at grappling sports, then they just stick to the grappling sports. They don't go over to MMA. Like that Lopez guy from Cuba, who I think won like 5 Olympic golds. He's like, nope, no consideration to MMA whatsoever. He's just going to take Olympic gold medals, and other world championship years, he just occasionally accepts bribes so other people can win gold medals. So, like, that's a weird dynamic there. But as far as, like, Anatoly goes, it's hard to find people to be able to push him. Like, there just aren't that many people in the world that big and that good at, what he needs to work on.
It is, man. And, everybody loses, man. This is MMA. I always tell people, you fight long enough, you're gonna lose. It just happens. There's too many variables. So Reug Reug is the new heavyweight champion of one championship, and I'm gonna pat myself on the back. But when Reug Reug first signed with one championship, and he was fighting at the beginning, like without any knowledge of what he did or who he was, and I just looked at him and said, like, he is, if you go back on my Twitter, I wrote, he is the next one heavyweight champion. And after, and this is what I was saying in the beginning, like the first couple of fights, and after a few fights, I was just like, damn, I should have never said that, right? Because I was pumping it, on podcasts and stuff. Then he actually becomes a champion.
Damn.
It was so long ago, I almost forgot that I said
crazy.
stuff like that. He's a champion. But anyways, so he's basking in the spoils of winning a title. But he goes right on Instagram and challenges Francis Ngannou in a cross-promotional matchup. 2 African kings, one from Senegal, the other one from Cameroon. PFL versus one championship.
Setting up
Africa's. What do you think? What do you think of this? Because PFL is always wanting to do crossover, right?
Yeah,
best
true.
of the best. Do you think like this is the next fight that they can put on PFL, or do you feel like there's too many hurdles?
You know what? This one seems more feasible than trying to match PFL with like a UFC card, I think. Partly because, at least my understanding of one's business model is they want more viewership. Like a lot of their fights are free to watch. There's no pay-per-view behind it. And so if they want more eyeballs around their promotion and their fighters, then why not dip your toes into another promotion like PFL, where it's like, great, now you've got the African viewership base to potentially convert back into the ONE FC audience. So it does seem like a winning business move on one side, if that's the pull that they want. And also, it's like, why wouldn't you promote like a fight in a continent that just hasn't had that many fights before? That's a potential new market to grow in. And then now, you might be, we'll say, looking for talent in a new continent, discover even more great fighters that were just kind of under the radar just because people don't really look, at like Africa for MMA talent. And yeah, it could really open up a door if they're one of like the earlier people to the market as far as like MMA in Africa goes. So it's an interesting one. I could see it, for whatever reason, I could see it happening more than PFL doing some kind of crossover with the UFC.
Oh, that's never gonna happen.
Right.
Unless, like I said, like somebody comes in with a big boatload of cash.
Yeah, big like third party.
Yeah,
just be
third
like,
party,
all right,
right.
we're just gonna set up this event and then just bring your best fighters and then yeah.
Maybe that could be possible with this. You know what I mean? Like
Uh-huh.
Africa. PFL is trying to get into Africa. In the Instagram post, Reug Reug wrote, Chatri, you were happy to make Francis Ngannou versus Anatoly happen.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I beat the guy. So let's make the biggest fight in African history. This, if you think about it, this is the biggest fight in African history.
Yeah, it's a great move.
Right?
Yeah.
The biggest fight in African history was Izzy versus Dricus.
Yep.
But now it's not. It's this fight because they're heavyweights.
That's
right?
true.
And Francis Ngannou is, the champion for PFL.
Mm-hmm.
You got the one champion, and Reug Reug he's actually making some. It's a good call out, to be honest, because their heavyweight division is not really deep at all.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and
True.
and for Reug Reug to like blast through, because he already has a lot of following because of Africa, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine him and Francis goes and
Yep.
fights each other. It's a big fight in terms of, I guess, the history of MMA,
Right.
but it's not a big fight on paper. Like, it's not a big fight, like, skill for skill.
Mm.
I think Francis Ngannou runs through Reug Reug, like, bad.
Right.
Like, and the crazy part is, like, people are saying that Anatoly was able to could beat Francis Ngannou, right?
Mm.
Everybody has an off night. Let's just say that for sure in fighting.
Right. Yeah.
But we just saw what Francis Ngannou, after a long layoff, what did he do? He went in there and just smashed Ferreira.
Yeah.
Like, smashed him bad, right? Like, it was
Right.
like not even a close fight, I
Right.
expected more than that.
Mm.
I was more confident Ferreira against Ngannou than Reug Reug against Anatoly.
Oh.
And the opposite things happened, right? So if you really think about it, Reug Reug, it's a good shout, like it's a good challenge,
Uh-huh. True.
but he doesn't, like, I'm pretty sure he believes that he can beat Francis Ngannou, but from the level of competition
Right.
and recent performances, like, it's hard to like choose Francis against Francis Ngannou, right?
Right. Makes sense. Yeah, I like that. I like that matchup.
But where do you do it in Africa? You can't. You do it in Senegal. You do it in Cameroon, or do you find a neutral location
Ooh.
like Zimbabwe or something?
Yeah, I'm thinking like neutral location, somewhat
Ethiopia.
more like accessible. You'd probably want to find a country or at least a city that's somewhat of like an international hub within Africa that you can set things up pretty easy
Yeah.
for a fight and like, sell tickets, get the arena and stuff like that. Yeah, I can't really-
Morocco, maybe.
Maybe.
Like Northern Africa would probably be best because then people can travel.
Right, and
It's
then
not
that
as far.
yeah, because then now it doesn't feel that far away for the European audience and the Middle Eastern audience. So then they'll fly over and bring in some money, like into the African local economy and stuff. If that's the way they want to push it. So probably a Northern African city that's got like an arena and the means to set up a really cool fight and just make that fight week like super super awesome.
Biggest fight in African history? It probably won't even happen in Africa, because like it's probably a logistical nightmare for a lot of. Because why do you think the UFC hasn't went there yet?
Right.
It's probably a logistical nightmare, right? Like,
It's
why do you think
true.
like all these other major promotions have not gone?
Right.
Like
Oh,
Bellator never went to Africa.
that's true. It's probably more likely going to end up in the Middle East or
Yeah,
something like that,
one
right?
championship never went to Africa, right? Yeah, like if the money's in the Middle East, like Saudi Arabia, then
Right.
it's gonna probably happen in Saudi Arabia, or Qatar could be a place,
Right.
right? If they want to compete, but I say they put the fight together. Like, why not?
Absolutely, yeah.
Like put your ego to the side and
Right.
stop chasing the UFC, because that's what One Championship's been doing the whole time as well. Talk about the UFC. It's only us and UFC.
Oh,
And you go to
yeah.
PFL, and PFL's like, it's only us and UFC. It's like whose playbook are you guys reading out of?
Yeah.
Because it sounds like the same shit to you know what I mean?
It does. It does. Yeah.
And in MMA, right? PFL, obviously MMA, they're a pure MMA organization. They're
course.
number 2 in MMA,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And One Championship is not an MMA organization.
That's true.
They're not even. They're like a martial arts organization.
Yes.
They just have everything, right?
Yep,
So
yep.
if you think about it, they're in their own category.
Right.
They're not even number 1 or number. They're not number 2 or 3. They're number 1 in their category.
In their own
right?
category. That's
but if
right.
you put them in the MMA, they're kind of. They're not even like in the same, like hemisphere as
True.
UFC or PFL in
Yeah.
MMA wise.
Right. Yeah. If they're trying to market themselves as the number one, like putting themselves in their own category actually makes the most sense now.
They kind of do that
Yeah.
right now, but they always want to like chase after, because they never mention Glory, which is
That's right.
kickboxing, and K1. They never mention that. They don't. There's not really many other Muay Thai organizations. They don't mention RWS. They don't mention these other organizations, because they only care about who, the UFC, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
It's just like, come
That's
on,
true.
guys, let's move past that. The UFC doesn't care.
Yep.
They're
Right.
they're only gonna say bad things about you. It's weird like how they can say all these bad things about you, but you still work with them. It's a weird business, right?
That is true. Yeah.
It's a weird business where you can say all these bad things about somebody, but they still want to work with you. It's like,
Yeah.
if you talk shit about me, I don't want to work with you, man. Like,
Right. True. True.
it's
Yeah. Yeah. It's probably one of the only industries where it's like imagine talking all that shit to Conor McGregor, like assuming you're gonna fight him, right? It's like where on one side you are doing business and the more you talk shit and the more like polarity you create, the more money you make off of this fight. But then at the same time, it's like any other industry. It's like if you're going into some like investing partnership or whatever with someone and they start talking that much shit, there's no way that business deal is gonna go down.
Exactly,
There's just not
right.
enough mutual respect. Yeah.
Exactly, but this is the fight business. Fight business is different.
It
Like you could
is.
just talk mad shit, and then 3 months later, you're sitting in a fucking business meeting, putting a fucking massive fight together, and then you've been saying all kinds of outrageous shit about each other.
Yeah.
And it just money trumps all.
Pretty much. And
Fight
then,
business is about money. That's
and then
that's
the
just-
fight ends and somehow you guys end up at the same after party just sharing a drink together.
Exactly,
And it's just
right?
like, oh,
and then
all right.
you might still not like each other.
Yeah.
And after that, you might even talk more shit about each other.
Yeah.
But for that short period of time, we're buddies. 'Cause
Yeah.
we're gonna make some money, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous, right?
Yeah,
But
it's so
Reug Reug,
funny.
I respect him for the call out. The reason why is he's chasing the biggest fight
Yep.
for the biggest money, and
Yep.
he knows if he can like spark this idea in someone's head that has the cash, they could put it together and he could get a big payday out of it. You know what I mean? Millions of dollars. Because PFL, they're giving Francis Ngannou's opponents, I think, like at least $1 million or two. Like
Ooh.
it's in the contract or something like that.
Nice.
Or 50% of what he's earned. I don't know, but Francis Ngannou is making a lot of money, man. Let's just say that.
Oh,
And
yeah, I bet.
he's still the best heavyweight in the world until John Jones fights Stipe.
That's right.
And see what happens.
That's right,
But other than that, Reug Reug, we hope you get the fight, make some money, but most likely it's not going to happen. And PFL and One Championship, stop chasing the UFC because they don't give a shit about you.